Hi, everyone. Particularly you guys. I'm going to try to turn this a little bit more, if I may. So I can't speak with you guys. As most of you know, back in February of 1995, when you guys were about 3 years old, I was driving home to Aspen from a Mites hockey game in Vail with my wife Kathy and our two sons, Tanner, who was 11, and Shay, who was 6. Shay had just played his first away hockey game, and Daniel Doremus' older brother Tyler was on Shay's team that day. We were about halfway through Glenwood Canyon when a boulder fell from the canyon wall and crushed the car I was driving, killing Kathy and the boys and leaving me untouched. I went home that night to an empty house, one that had been filled with noise and dreams and joy, and that was now silent. Some of you may also know that in the 15 years that have passed by since then, a lot of wonderful things have happened in my life. Kathy's mantra was, expect a miracle. She would often tell people that. Maybe all along it was meant for me. Maybe she knew I would need it someday. Because my life has been filled with miracles, with happenings that have literally glowed with blessing and grace. And I'm often in wonder at what the universe can accomplish when we choose to stay in the game despite the odds. I received an anonymous letter from a woman who told me she had asked God to let her carry some of my pain. And she enclosed a tape of songs she'd put together to help me in my grieving. She signed the note, "A Friend." It was an incredibly kind and thoughtful letter from a complete stranger, as it turned out. And some lucky instinct caused me to write back to say hello. Hers was the only letter of the hundreds that I received that I responded to. We met, and we've been together ever since. Allison and I have 2 boys, Ryder, 13, and Burke, 12. And they're both here with us today. Ryder and Burke naturally play hockey and other sports with Daniel Doremus' younger brothers, Jack and Willie, the twins. A lot of Doremus boys out there. What I really want to share with you today is what the loss of my family has taught me, what I've learned about myself and about other people since that day. In some ways, it has felt like a series of lessons, but it's really been more of a growing awareness of how our hearts work and of what matters and what doesn't. For some reason, I had reached a point in my life where I wasn't learning much anymore. I wasn't growing. Well, the universe ran over me and left me pretty broken. My only real choices were open up and let in the miracles, or wither away to nothing. In the beginning, of course, there were no miracles. The days and weeks and months that followed were the bleakest of my life. I literally would ask myself, do I have what it takes to do this? And what I came to understand, more as an article of faith than of knowledge, is that this is what we do. That we are indomitable beings, that we are made to persist, to stay the whole course. That's how we find out who we are. And that's what I learned, that where our very survival is at stake, each of us is terribly strong, incredibly brave, and that we are made of the finest steel. It's good to know these things. When things go very wrong in your life, and something probably will someday, trust that you have what it takes to move through it and beyond it. Easy? No. Worth the pain? Yeah. It will be. Part of living? Yeah, again. Don't go looking for it, but just know that when it comes, you'll be ready. What meant the most to me in those early days, the truth is everything was a part of it. It seemed that everything in my world conspired to keep me moving forward, to support my belief in myself and the universe. My daughter Piper, who's here with us today, moved in with me that night, slept at the foot of my bed, and made sure that I was never alone. She graduated from this high school a few years back. Family and friends and people I didn't even know watched over me and took care of me. I have always felt an inherent kindness in other people. But I found that when things go really wrong, that kindness is intensified. We're linked to one another by invisible threads, in deep and primitive ways that we don't really understand. At the very heart of things, it is the kindness of others that nurtures us the most, particularly when the going gets rough. I was also blessed to live in a small town that embraced me and carried me through that time. On the 10th anniversary of the accident, I wrote a short note of appreciation to the people of Aspen, and I published in the local paper. It went like this: "It is said that it takes a village to raise a child. Now I know that a community can keep a man afloat when his spirit is fragile and things hang in the balance. I don't really know how to describe what the love of this town meant to me, except to say that it meant that I still mattered, that I was not alone, that I would not have to do this by myself, that you would stay the course with me. And above all, that you too loved Tanner and Shay and Kathy in ways that touched and warmed me. You grieved my loss with me, and you have continued to do so down through the years. Each of you here today is a part of this Aspen community, and you will be part of many communities as you move through life. Look at the community that makes up this school. Administrators and teachers and students and parents, an amazingly effective organism that's built on a mixture of ideals and hopes and sweat and tears and respect, and if the truth be known, a lot of love. Your community is going to be constantly shifting and evolving, but no matter who we are or where we are, we can't do life alone, and it wouldn't be any fun if we could. Please be constantly aware of the people in your lives and of the vital role that they play. You're responsible for their well-being, just as they are for yours. Always be prepared to take each other's backs when things get tough. As best you can, choose your community carefully. Surround yourselves with others that lift you up, that accept you as you are and encourage you to be your best. Receive their gifts to you with grace, and carry your friends without complaint when they need you. There's another lesson I learned after the accident. I could not go back to my old ways. The loss of my family cracked me wide open, and I found that the wound has never really closed up again. If there's any blessing to be found in this, it is that I'm a more open person than I was before. I now know kindness as the deepest thing inside me, as the only thing that makes perfect sense anymore. I have learned that I can touch others, that I can make a difference, and I found that I'm brave enough to do these things. I'm a better person than I was, and maybe I'm a better lawyer. And I found that crying is not a weakness, and that it's incredibly healing. I never used to cry at all. I just kept all my tears bottled up someplace. Now I seem to cry all the time, and it feels good. So, tough guys, don't hold on to the tears. Don't ever miss a chance to have a good cry. And always, my friends, reach out and touch one another. Today, tomorrow, and the next day, there's no weakness in this. Just bravery and strength and compassion and kindness, of course. The really good stuff. I also learned that no matter what you're facing, the essential rule is you've got to lean into the pain and the fear. Feel the sharp points enter your skin. In order to know that enemy for what it is and what it is not. In order to see it clearly and eventually to own it no matter how rough and scary the situation you find yourself in, no matter how much or how little is at risk. Don't run. Don't hide. Don't lie. Lean into it, my friends. Bleed if you have to. Look into its face. Put your arms around it. Learn from it. Make it yours. We also have to have the guts and the self-respect to look into ourselves carefully and honestly in order to come to know who we are and what we stand for. If we remain ignorant of these things, we will always be pawns on someone else's playing field. The truth is, our time on this earth is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Have the faith to follow your own heart, your own passion, your own curiosity, your own intuition. Somehow, they already know what you want to become. You've got to find what you love in your work and in other people. Many of you don't know yet what you're going to love doing. Keep looking until you find it. Don't settle for something else. And another thing, make room in your heart for a strange truth. We simply don't know what's going to happen next in our lives. No matter what we do, no matter what our plans or our intentions. Life is like that. We really don't know anything about tomorrow, and no one else does either. Develop the knack of being comfortable with this uncertainty, of honoring the not knowing. So now the great adventure begins. Most of you will be leaving home soon, and you're going to leave a big hole in your parents' heart. Don't ever doubt how much they love you. They will love you forever. Come home as often as you can, and stay in close touch with the friends that are here with you today. Some of them may be friends for life. Go on out into the world, work hard, learn more, take chances, be passionate, wipe off the dust and blood of tough punches, and keep your eyes up, your head high, your heart clear. Be sure to laugh and cry every day, and always speak the truth. Be gentle with gentle people, tough with the tough. And do your best not to add to the pain of the world. That's the path of the true warrior. Now let's finish our conversation about miracles. Some miracles are a matter of intention. Your intention. These miracles are within your control. Go get them. Other miracles are different. They're part of the great mystery. Someone else is in charge of them. Our role is to believe in them. Always, always expect a miracle.